So we're going to talk about 5 coins that you could buy under 3 cents. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, subscribe, bell button, leave a like. I'm hoping my microphone sounds better. Fixing a light the other day, I've switched the switch on my microphone so it picked up different sounds. It sounded like I literally was underwater. So I hope it works better now. Anyways, let's talk about it. 5 coins that you could buy for under 3 cents. A mixed bag, but I want to explain something first in terms of market capitalization in case you are a newbie. Don't want to kind of label you as that, but sometimes this is where the biggest mistake comes in if you're an investor. Sometimes people look for the cheapest in terms of value. They will buy something 0.000001 and they get like a quadrillion amount of coins. And they're thinking to themselves, well, if this goes to $1, I'm a multi-billionaire and I'm going to basically slap Jeff Bezos across the arse and go, see you later, mate, I'm here. But that's never going to happen. You've got to look at the understanding fundamentals of an asset. Right, why? Market cap. It's a simple sum. It is the price of said asset times by the circulating supply. So naturally, the more tokens there is of an asset, the cheaper that will be in US dollar. Usually, 9 times out of 10. So when you start looking at the top level of this, you're probably thinking, well, why is Bitcoin 42,000? Why is Ethereum only 2,900? And why is Cardano 200? Lols, $2.11, right? You're probably thinking that. Well, you've got to look at the circulating supplies. You got 18 million, obviously at the minute, for Bitcoin. Then you've got 32 billion for Cardano. Got my mistakes out of the way nice and early, which is good. So it always matters, right? So just be careful, right? Doesn't mean that it's never going to go to the sky, obviously, but you start getting into the realm of being far-fetched, right? So when you see certain price predictions, oh, VeChain's going to go to $100, and you're probably thinking, all right then. And then you do the maths and you're thinking, well, it's going to be the richest asset in the world. Totally possible. So you got to look at that and take it with a grain of salt. So let's get on with the list. There's 5. In my opinion, they're decent, i.e., I'm not featuring shit. Some of them I hold, not many of them though. You can guess which one I hold. Be a fun little comment in the bottom. And ultimately, they are stuff that I would look at for an investment myself. That's kind of the game of my channel, realistically. I don't want to feature turd. If you don't know this yet, I've got a Patreon page, link below. I'm going to be doing some deep dives on some assets I'm looking to purchase in the future. So if you're interested in seeing basically a dress rehearsal of research, I will be doing them on there soon. But this will be a glance over on some assets, right? I'm going to go over them in a little bit of detail, but not a deep dive. So don't expect full value here in case you're going to comment. First one is BePro, okay? For me, under the radar. For me, undervalued, 47 million market cap and sitting at a lovely alarming rate. But you're probably thinking, what is it? I've featured it before in my channel. It's a Web3 application. It's a code-based protocol. And Web3 is getting a little bit more popular these days with the likes of Polkadot, for example. Now, there's enough information here to understand it, but there isn't a full-on guide of what it is physically doing. So that is, in my opinion, quite an early indicator that this isn't ready to go yet. However, once there is white papers and stuff like that and there's documentation to allow you to understand it, it's not too bad. And it's already been backed by some pretty decent, capital firms already. So there's definitely something here, but there is enough information here, but there's no white papers just yet. Stuff is coming apparently, that's what I've heard. So maybe it's worth keeping an eye on. If you are interested in building of networks and network effect and stuff, this could be quite interesting. I have featured this before on my channel. It's something to keep an eye on. But the one thing to make note of is obviously the tokenomics. The distribution of it and how it kind of obviously works with all the private sales and stuff. There's all the information on that spreadsheet here, as you can see. not too bad realistically, and there's a decent chunk of, you know, locking up periods as well, so it's not too bad. But realistically though, the fundamentals are simple. This is a network effect coin, and it could do very, very well. And then when you start looking at that, likes of the use case, for example here, there's all kinds of information here. So NFTs, you've got digital art galleries, prediction markets, DeFi, governance, and staking. There's a lot of things that you can do and ultimately build. But realistically though, the element to this more than anything is, well, let me just try and find it. I think it's on this one. Here we go. Want it load? There we go. So this is kind of the element to it, you know, the BePro network. So it could be of interest for developers, and that Web3 element is getting pretty interesting. So it could do pretty well, but I think it's in its very, very early stages and could get very interesting. Next one is Multivac. As you know, I like this coin. I featured it before. It's doing very, very well, and this is a sharding capability coin. It's an asset with utility. Sharding is an interesting element. Now, I'm very much on the side that I don't give a shit how fast something is. I want it to work. I want it to scale properly if it needs to. I want it to be cheaper than Ethereum, because Ethereum is an absolute piece of poop in terms of usage. And again, when you consider what sharding allows you to have, it is better security, high throughput, the ability for it to literally scale without worrying about things. And that's the element with the likes of Ethereum. If there's an ICO on, for example, or if there's a huge event on, you cannot get your distribution through. If one of the NFTs are going through and there's a big auction going on, oh my God, try sending something on Ethereum, right? So this aims to solve it. It's very similar to some other blockchains out there, but realistically, sharding is very, very new and underutilized in my opinion. And this is a blockchain that is slowly gathering pace, in my opinion. And when you start looking at the distribution of like the transactions and the addresses, it's growing all the time. So it's going to get some interest, I think, moving forward, which is always good. And you can stake this. You can stake this for a decent rate, 20%. It's getting towards 3 billion, you know, in terms of locked up. So for me, I still think it's relatively early. Next one is something you probably know, just under 3 cents right now. Could be a really good buy. Reserve rights. Certainly worth a look in my opinion. They're changing the protocol to staking. The staking element's going to feature as well a basket of other coins. The RSV token will still be utilized due to what it aims to be, which is a stable currency. RSR is going to be the pivot of that, enabling it to stay as its dollar for value around the world in poverty-stricken places. The website's changed recently. I really like the website, by the way, just putting it out there. I think it's pretty quirky, but it's already got an app. The app's already live. It's only on Android. iOS is coming. It's already in 4 countries right now, and it's already got a ton of transactions through it, which is brilliant. The protocol, as I say, is changing. Mainnet is coming, and this is where we're going with it. So 2021, all the information will be coming out very, very soon. So all the mainnet plans, it's all on podcasts at the moment. It's all information. That's all on the internet. If you want to listen to those podcasts, crack on. But realistically, the aim is to go away from what their original plan was, which is arbitrage and minting. They're going to be most likely going to a fixed supply, enabling staking rewards, which in my opinion is 10 times better. And it will probably appreciate the price more because it's more relevant to what we're used to, especially on the Ethereum blockchain. Even though Ethereum is pretty turd, at the end of the day, utilizing the DeFi network on Ethereum is relatively strong. It's a big network. It's huge. It works. So that in itself is always a good thing. Certainly if it's maintaining the strength of the network, enabling multiple baskets of coins to be utilized and used in other countries for people on the app so they have their fair rights of a stable currency, no matter which one they want to use. I quite like it. Moving on to the next one. I've not featured this coin in a long time. Holochain. Now, I featured this back in 2018, I think, or 2019. And I did like the look of it then. It's a little bit different. I'm pretty sure it's a DAG, not a blockchain. So it's a little bit different. Okay, so don't get confused, like I sometimes do. It's clean. It's effective. It's got some very, very decent partnerships. And I know a lot of people badger me a lot in my comments on Twitter and stuff going, talk about Holochain. Nothing's changed. It's a really solid infrastructure. It's got a real solid look to it as well. And it has a lot of information that you can go on. Data ownership's huge. That is a massive industry, by the way. I'm just going to put it out there. That's billions alone. Social impact and energy. Energy is a big industry anyways. But realistically, you got 1,000 developers, 28,000 commits already, 450 forks, and a ton of followers. It's a decent project, this. And I do think it's under the radar, but you got to remember there's a lot of things under the radar, in my opinion, at the moment, because I think a lot of it's drowned out by what is happening in the bigger networks and most importantly, the likes of NFTs, the DeFi world, etc., where this is totally different. So if you haven't done your research, I'll make sure you do your research. It's totally different. As you can see, it's an open source framework for creating P2P application. It's secure, reliable, and fast. But as I say, it is not a blockchain. You know, this is different infrastructure. But in terms of energy, this is giving you the information in terms of use case. So you got energy markets, you've got currencies, infrastructure, whatever. Social impact, you probably just heard a big bang there because they're building something over the road. And yeah, local economies. Very, very interesting to see how they grow and how they build, but certainly something that could be a long-term investment if you are interested in network effects and infrastructure growth, especially using an ecosystem like this. Last one. Veracity. Now, I've not spoken about this much, but I do like it, right? Now, I'm a critic of these type of platforms because I think it's too early. That's my opinion, right? But that doesn't mean it's a bad investment, right? Esports is huge. Video entertainment is huge. Trying to combine that with cryptocurrency and earning cryptocurrency and able to, you know, win rewards and all kinds of stuff like that is the next step. And this is why I'm a bit more skeptical on these kind of projects, is because it has to allow existing, you know, markets to basically adapt and become into crypto. It doesn't happen overnight. It's like investing, right? Everyone might know about cryptocurrency. Oh, I've heard about Bitcoin, I've heard about Ethereum, whatever, but I'm probably not going to invest. You're going to have people like that in this market as well, where they're a bit settled on the fact of just, I'm quite happy where I am, thank you. Even though they can sync it up, even though they can do certain things and allow them to just make, you know, a little bit extra, etc. People are like not willing to take the plunge. We see it all the time, right? It's just one of those things. But for me, I think it's a solid use case. If I'm talking about a very, very simple use case where the enabling of like even the token rewards there, you can see it here. That's pretty awesome, right? There's a load happening here. And that's where it gets interesting. You see here the cycle, you got the buy-in, the benefits, the user, the cycle, the earning of it. It's ridiculous, really. But as I say, it's just one of those things where you're relying on something that people might be so stubborn and stuck in the ways, even, and it might get, you know, we'll see how it goes. So this is Q3, a lot happening, and even Q4 NFTs are looking, which obviously NFTs, you know, are the hype around there. So it's definitely worth looking at. But in terms of the team, by the way, you can already see that here. The core team have got a lot of expertise. They do. It's all right. You know, I quite like it. And I do think the price point is pretty good too. Certainly when you look at the market cap. Again, market cap of this one, 131 million. It's just below 3 cents. So maybe you might get in at a good time, but it has been much higher. I think all-time high of this. Let me just make sure. All-time high, yeah. It's down 45%. So maybe an opportunity. But as I say, none of this is financial advice. It's just me putting my thoughts out there. These are 5 coins that, if push comes to shove and I wanted to buy something, these would be probably on my list realistically, especially if they fit the parameters. But at the end of the day, you can't hold every coin. You shouldn't want to hold every coin realistically because you'll be diluted. But realistically, price points and market cap of all these assets are relatively okay. Holochain is the one with the highest market cap. All the other ones are relatively in the mid to low range, so it's not too bad. So yeah, see how things go with adoption.